summer break in college. I got a job at the Hole in the Wall gang camp. Like Camp Sunshine, this is a camp for children with life threatening illnesses. But with Hole in the Wall, the parents don't stay with the kids. I don't see why you'd want to be gone for the whole summer to work at another camp for sick kids. It's a calling, Grandma. I love this work. Because it was founded by the actor Paul Newman, Hole in the Wall was what most Americans thought of when it came to camps that served kids with cancer. Working there would be a full time job. But the whole summer? I was hoping you'd just go once and be done with it. What's the name of this place again? The Hole in the Wall Gang Camp. Well, if you meet Paul Newman, give him my number. Oh, like he'd leave Joanne Woodward for you. Oh, shove it. He'd take one look at me and say, forget her. Ring. Hello? Ja, it's for you. Hello? Jarrett? This is Pam. Shelley's sister? I'm so sorry to be calling with this, but she wanted you to know Eric is gone. You can see the anguish on his face. Gone? He died just this morning. He was in his mom's arms. Everyone was together. You meant so much to him, Jarrett. We'd love for you to be at the services. Do you have a pen and paper handy? Yeah, I love that little guy. We know, sweetheart. We know. The small New England church was packed and overflowing. We gather here today to celebrate a life that, while short, was a life well lived. A life that had tremendous pain, but also tremendous love. Let us not mourn what could have been, but celebrate what was. And the family is together here, including the dad. A beautiful boy was here on this earth with us, and we're all the better for that. Measure his meaning not by the length of time, but by the magnitude of his presence. And we have the Lord's Prayer here. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And you have Jarrett finishing with Amen. The Orpho family thanks you all for being here in this time of grief, and they welcome you all to join them at their house for a gathering with food and happy memories of Eric. Jarrett lingers. He stops, and he plants a yellow Power Ranger on Eric's resting place. I couldn't handle the thought of a world without Eric. It hardly seemed possible. That light, that little man, gone. I was one of the last guests to arrive at the Orpho's house, and as I walked down the driveway, a butterfly circled me, as if to say that everything would be okay. And you can see that he mimics that same shot that he had from when Eric said, "Hello, butterfly." Bark, bark. Well, who's this? Oh, that's Candace. Eric got her the day before he died. Eric always wanted a puppy of his own. We had promised him he'd get one when he went into remission, but when it was clear that wasn't going to happen. Down, Candace, down! Yeah, she's going to need some training. Hey, Jarrett, guess what? What's that, Jason? You've got 5 minutes to get rid of that word. Ugh, you punk. There isn't a day that goes by where I don't think about Eric, Diego, and all the campers that I got to spend such meaningful time with. Like those of many campers that I grew to know, Eric's and Diego's lives were short, but the ramifications of their time affected everyone who came in contact with them, sending ripples well beyond the months and years we had with them. All of the campers and their families would live with the unimaginable. I feel so privileged to have known them and have been a small part of a positive experience for them during those times. And while I had to say goodbye to too many of them, I have also witnessed many campers grow into adulthood. Some campers, inspired by what they went through, even went into careers in the medical field as doctors and nurses. Many went on to become counselors themselves, some even finding careers with therapeutic camps. There have been marriages, births, and professional triumphs. Their pain, endured during childhood, gave way to happy, wonderful adulthoods. So, once again, it's not all sad and gloom that the camp, for a lot of people, provided them with such happiness and such wonderful, life affirming things that even though some died, it's as a whole a very positive thing for everybody. And this is an artifact from the funeral. Um, and this is, uh, a letter that he gets. So they stayed in touch. You can see pictures of them all together here. And there's an epilogue. 20 years after that first week of camp, one of my book tours brought me through Pittsburgh. The kids are so excited that you're here. They can't get enough of your lunch lady graphic novels. I'm so psyched to meet them. Thank you so much for hosting. I hope you don't mind, but a reporter from the local paper will be covering your visit to our school. Oh, of course, that's okay. I was setting up the tech for my presentation when I heard a familiar refrain. Hey, ya punk. Jason! Hello, old man. Now out of college, Jason took work as a sports writer for a small town newspaper. They sent you to cover this? Your editor knows this is the sports, right? Well, let's hope there aren't any high school soccer emergencies while I'm here. While I delivered my presentation to the students, I couldn't help but take in the fitting serendipity. There I was in front of hundreds of kids, while a former camper scribbled notes for a story. My life had taken the direction it did because of campers like Jason. That evening, Jason and I went bowling. He remained as competitive as ever, yet still showed compassion for an unathletic elder. While social media has given me daily updates on Jason and his family, I hadn't seen him in person since my wedding, 7 years earlier. I still can't believe that you have two kids. Yep, Zoe and Lucia. Gina and I hope for a third. How has your mom been? Is that new baby of hers keeping her busy? How old is he now? 10? Ha, Larry just became a teenager. It was wild to see how much those kids loved your books. How many have you published now? About 20 or so? I'm losing track. Hold up. Oh man, look who's calling. Let me answer it. Mary! Wait, Jarrett, what are you doing there? Hmm, there it is. I was in town for work. How are things at the hospital? I can't complain. I love being a nurse. So that's what Jarrett was talking about. A lot of them, the kids who went to the camp, became nurses or doctors. I'm calling Jay because he never returns my texts. Tell her I'm not here. I need to know if he's in for the Jimmy Fund walk or not. I saw on Facebook. I just donated to Team Power Rangers. I'll ask him. Hey Jason, guess what? What? You got 10 minutes to get rid of that word. And then there's an author's note and acknowledgments. It's wild to stop and think about how the short and finite time I spent at camp had such an everlasting and powerful effect on my life. I cannot fathom the direction life would have taken me if it had not been for my time with those courageous campers. And at the heart of it, this is um, important. That's what a rite of passage is, something that is powerful, that can change the direction of your life. And that is what he went through when he went to Camp Sunshine. Camp came to me at a period in my life when my personal problems seemed insurmountable. I often point to the saving power of art and what creating did for me as I grew up, but volunteerism proved to be an equally decisive force. Volunteerism taught me that while my difficulties were real and should be acknowledged, I was far from alone in walking a challenging path. I began my journey at Camp Sunshine when I was 16 and volunteered for a handful of sessions over the next few years. After finishing my first year of college, I worked as a full summer counselor at the Hole in the Wall gang camp. While similar in mission to Camp Sunshine, Hole in the Wall's summer season is a sleepaway program. And like Camp Sunshine, there are programs that serve the entire family, a dedicated session for siblings, and weekend retreat for parents. I'm lucky enough to still be in touch with several of the families that I worked with over the years. Perhaps I connected so quickly with them because I understood what it was like to yearn for childhood during childhood. Trauma is a way of forcing you to grow up while you're still in a small body. While the story in this book centers on that first week that I entered into this important work, some of the incidents and stories that I include are taken from subsequent years of working at Camp Sunshine in the Hole in the Wall gang camp. Some of the names and likenesses in this book are true to the actual people and used with permission. Others have been changed or combined with multiple campers and moments to protect the privacy of those I couldn't gain contact with to seek consent. While I'm unable to share their real names with you, those real names are held very dear to my heart. A few thank yous to the families that I was able to connect with while making this book. Thank you, Susan, for allowing me to use Derek's name and likeness. It's remarkable that one day we were able to meet up again last summer happened to be Derek's birthday. If Big D was still here, there's no doubt he would be autographing copies of the book in every bookshop that he came across. Thank you to Matt and Josh, whose brotherly love is featured in this book. They were the ones who shared the bone marrow. It's been a privilege and a joy to watch you grow into the husbands and fathers you both are. And to Shirley, Shelley, Jason, and Mary, I'm so very thankful that the stars aligned and placed us together during that fateful first week at camp. There isn't a day when Eric does not pop into my thoughts. I am in awe of how you persevered then and weathered that storm. Jason, I've seen you grow into the man you always wanted to be with a beautiful bride and a beautiful baby. And to this day, I only know that there are more important local sporting events because of your social media posts. Mary, it is no surprise that you grew up to be a nurse. How lucky your patients are to have such a loving and caring person tending to them. It's also no surprise that you seem to have welcomed a new dog into your family every few months. And surely, you opened your home to me in the years after camp, and I was always so taken by how you parented your kids. They were always loved, and your house was always wild, as you allowed the kids to be kids. I've taken that with me into my own adulthood and my life as a parent. And of course, thank you to all three of you for going down memory lane with me as I shared early drafts of this book. Some other thanks. I have three wonderful, bright, and beautiful children of my own. Parenthood has most certainly shifted my perspective on my work at camp. When each of my kids reached the age when Eric left this earth, I would hold them just a bit closer. I'm so very fortunate to be raising these three alongside an incredible co parent, my wife Gina. An enormous thank you to Gina, Zoe, Lucia, and Xavier for their patience as I finished this book. Creating a graphic memoir can be a very fraught and challenging emotional journey, and Sunshine certainly was all these things. I would also like to thank David, Phil, and everyone at Scholastic, as well as my agent Rebecca, for the compassion they showed me when I needed extra time to finish Sunshine. Revisiting the experiences found in this book reiterated an epiphany that working at camp gave me. Time here with one another is a gift that should be acknowledged and appreciated. As I age and each new birthday rolls around, I think how fortunate I am to be here with my collective experience of everything I've seen, felt, and shared thus far. And then that's the end. There's a picture of Jarrett there.